So during when I came to my first year, I got a hard drive from a friend which had like hundreds of Hindi movies, all of them,
Which
which
friend was
were,
this?
I think it was Sanjeev.
Credit where it's due. Credit where it's due.
You talking to me?
AOSBBC clothing.
என் பேர் மாணிக்கம் எனக்கு இன்னொரு பேர் இருக்கு
Talking to me?
Queen is dead.
So this is the podcast we're going to be talking about Anurag Kashyap gearing up for the release of Choked on Netflix, release on June 5th, I guess. We want to be sponsored by Netflix, so this is like an open invitation. His movies have influenced us in many ways, and we're going to be talking about experiences with his films and the inspiration that he has given us. So, what were our first experiences with Anurag Kashyap and how we came across his movies? Sanjeev, had you ever heard of Anurag Kashyap?
Acha. My first experience I hadn't heard of Anurag Kashyap. Like I knew this guy existed, but I didn't know who he was or anything about his films. I knew about this film called No Smoking around 2007, but I hadn't seen it. But the first film that I watched was Gangs of Wasseypur 2. I hadn't watched the first part, and the first part I had watched only in spurts on a pirated DVD, and I I watched it on 15th of August, 2012, and that was the day it was Eid and Ekta Tiger had released. So I bunked my coaching classes and I went for Gangs of Wasseypur 2, and I loved that film. Like I enjoyed that film so much that it was like a very memorable experience, and like I became a fan at that moment itself. Like I knew I like his films whenever I watch. Then I watched Gangs of Wasseypur, and then subsequently I watched this film called which had premiered on Star Plus. It was a TV film called Last Train to Mahakali. So I
Hmm.
had seen it and I found a YouTube video. So I watched that. And then I watched almost all his films on first day, first show since 2012. 2014, I think his next film came out, which was Ugly. So since then, like I flunked one of my exams to watch Bombay Velvet. Like I don't regret any of that because I know his films are like a one of a kind experience. So it's been a very good journey so far. What about you?
So my first experience was watching the AVD on TV. So it was very censored, and
Mm.
I didn't even know who the director was. But all I'd heard was that this movie was very, it was like a darker take on the original Devdas. And I'd seen the original Devdas as well as the Sanjay Leela Bhansali version. But both of them are very melodramatic and kind of boring. But when I saw, I was instantly intrigued. It was very interesting the way he had shown everything. Know anything about filmmaking
Mhm.
back then. I didn't know about the craft or anything. I was just for the fun of the movie, I really enjoyed it. I loved that style of comedy. So, and I couldn't find any other director. And I thought that after a point, I saw other directors trying to like copy that kind of style.
Mhm.
So that's why I like those kind of, I mean, that kind of look and like style of the movie. Eventually I saw Udan, and then I saw that he had written it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he is like eventually started the production company with the director of Udan and
yeah.
Vikas.
Vikas Bear.
So after that, I just saw like his next big film was Gangs of Wasseypur Part One, which I saw I think 2 years after it came out, and I saw
Ah,
first like the Part One and Part Two, and I found it somewhere on torrents and. Instantly loved it. I thought that this was like, I don't know why people aren't talking more about this. Then I found that a lot of people are talking about this, and it's like a very it's like part of the
cult.
college student pedigree.
Mhm.
So I that's what I continued watching his movies. I saw the next one I watched was That Girl in Yellow Boots, and then I
Mhm.
saw his old ones. Then I saw Lion Say. I saw I mean in like subsequently I saw Punch, Black Friday, and Gulal in a row, and
Okay.
loved Gulal. Like I'd heard a lot about Black Friday because it was all over the news. Like it was it was
Mhm.
the news. If you remember, I like not a lot of like we were pretty young back then, but it was all over the on like
Yeah, yeah.
NDTV and
It was supposed to be a a TV show kind of thing for some news channel only
Okay.
actually, which he later translated to a
Oh,
film. So that's what I.
but yeah, so I really enjoyed his style of humor mostly, actually. So that's what drew me more to his movies.
Hmm.
So we have Teja with us, and he's like been working with us for a very very long time, and yeah,
Okay.
big fan of his. So we wanted to know how you felt about Anurag Kashyap.
Anurag
What was
Kashyap
your first
and his
experience with
film.
him?
I
Hmm.
thought we were all fans of Kashyap,
We're
not
fans of
Teja.
Teja.
So my first experience, I never heard about Anurag
Hmm.
Kashyap. To be fact, like till I joined college till 2014, I hardly watched Hindi movies.
Hmm.
Once, which were
Yeah.
very famous and on theaters only.
Hmm.
But then Anurag Kashyap is famous for the other side. His movies never made to theaters only. So during when I came to my first year, I got a hard drive from a friend which had like hundreds of Hindi movies, all of them,
Which
which
friend was
were,
this?
I think it was Sanjeet.
Credit where it's due. Credit where it's due.
So it was Sanjit, okay.
So because of Sanjeet, I could watch like lot of movies. For example, Bagban, such old movies too. To, so there was this folder he had, Anurag Kashyap folder. So when I opened Anurag Kashyap folder, first movie which I saw was Devdi.
Hmm.
So Devdi was
Mm,
so good visually. It even though it is an what do you say? It has been influenced by Devdas, but for the modern era also it has been made so
Hmm. Hmm.
well. Realistic, it was realistic. The visuals also
mm,
were good. So this made me like just chase behind Kashyap. What other movies has he made?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that when under Devdi, there was Gangs of Wasseypur also. So I immediately watched Gangs of Wasseypur. After Gangs of Wasseypur, then Black Friday. Black Friday, I've heard about Black Friday, but I've never watched it. So I got to watch that also.
Hmm.
But today, finally, I watched Black Friday again because I thought I forgot it. Yeah, and the list continued to go on. He ended up making Ugly. So my first Anurag Kashyap's movie in theater was Ugly.
Oh, that's his purest film.
Yeah,
I feel.
mm,
yeah. So uh, the thing I liked, which Hemant has spoke, is his comedy. He does dark comedy so easy. It is so easy for him to portray dark comedy.
Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah. It
organically
is
an extension
himself.
of his films.
Uh, what he likes, what he does in life. I feel so
Hmm.
he is one of the only directors in Bollywood I think who has made dark comedy more public to general audience.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
mm,
Gangs of Hasepur only, if you see the way a person shoots the other one, it
Hmm.
showed in such a comedical way. It is dangerous, but we still laugh at it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like
hilarious.
it's so real
yeah,
that you enjoy it sort of.
What do you
yeah.
think?
No, no, I was just saying. So Teja watched Black Friday. Like, what? Like, did your perspective change
Yeah,
when
dude,
you watched it now?
definitely. Like, I hardly remembered Black Friday when I watched
Oh
like
shit.
5 years back. Today it gave me a
Mm,
like it felt ki all these new all the actors who were there in the movie were all new that time. Like Nawazuddin Siddiqui and all of these were just
Hmm.
starting up, and
yeah.
now I realized where from then only Kashyap was Kashyap. Maybe recently he has lost his stuff or he became more mature in how he's showing things. He wants to show things realistically, but in a matured way he
Hmm. Hmm.
started showing these days, I
Mm-hmm.
think. So I could see the raw Kashyap back then.
Mm.
Hmm. So, Ganti, like, what's your favorite of all Kashyap films? Yeah.
I think it would easily be Gulal.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched
Same for
Gulal, so
me.
I'm not really sure.
It. Um,
I think
Like from the movies that you watched, Teja, like which ones did you like the most?
Baby stayed with
Something
me.
that stayed with you.
Ugly
hmm,
also stayed with me.
hmm.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
Ugly is his purest film. Like it's got everything that he's actually owned. Like his films, like all his films which have had his style, like sort of, like it just added up and became like this bonus film Ugly, which came just in between. Uh, no, that's what I felt. So it's got everything. Like you see, it's got chase, it's got foot chase. It's a thriller. It's got a twist ending. It's got characters who are like totally miserable. It's got an investigation going on. It has a torture scene. So
Yeah.
it's like I think his films before Dev D were very plot driven. Like not just plot driven, but there was some plot going on which guided those characters somewhat. And Dev D was that
Mm.
full character blown, like exploding character driven film, which was like just character building the film. But Ugly was this one film where I was like, yeah, like there was this one thing where it was still leading up to. He knew what the ending was beforehand, but then he directed the audiences so well. Like you were wondering, okay, maybe you had that ending in your mind at the back of your head, but he just took you around those characters. He's like, okay, just see this character. Okay, now what do you feel about this character? What do you feel about Shomik? What do you feel about his wife? What do you feel about Rahul? What do you feel about his friend Chaitanya? Anyone could have been a part of that kidnapping, and someone could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Ugly is his purest film. Like, and I think that's the only film that he's just written and directed. Like, though he's the sole writer of that film. Before that and after
Mm.
that, I think he's written with some people, but I think Ugly is his like the
Yeah,
complete
like Ugly
Anurag
has
Kashyap package kind of
left
film.
such mark on me. If
Mm.
you just have watched what
Hmm.
few just couple of movies of Kashyap before, but you know how his style is. If you just watch couple of scenes of Ugly, you'll definitely know that it is Kashyap and no one else. No one can ever pull that off. Yeah, it
Like
has.
it's even got that black comedy thing going on. Like you know that improvised scene with that cop where they with Chaitanya and Rahul go inside that police station and give details to that cop. He's just asking like randomly. He's just talking. How does that photo
Yeah.
pop up in that phone and all of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, and even that there's this one just like a 5 or 10 second moment where they're sitting in a restaurant. There's this guy just dancing with a board which says "Happy
Yeah.
Birthday." It's just so random, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll laugh at it and it'll pop out of nowhere. That's the thing. And I think after I watched that film, like I felt so
Yeah, the
cynical, so
movie is
negative
December.
after that ending.
Hmm.
Like
Oh
it took
yeah.
me days to process that ending basically.
So,
Like it was
so
as
this is what
effective
happens
as
when someone is
Heather was,
trying to
in my
be
opinion.
honest, or whenever someone is trying to show you these are the facts or the truth which
Hmm.
happen generally. Like, I feel he's one of the most knowledgeable filmmakers around who can tell a great story without having any money involved at all in the production. Like Ugly example, Ugly only.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
His budget. So the budget for
Yeah,
Ugly is actually 4.5 crores,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is in terms of
But it still didn't even make money back.
yeah, it made its money back, like total gross of
I
like 6.24
Yeah.
crores. But like 4.5 crores to make a movie with of that scale and that length also, it's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
long.
It's
And
2 hours, something, right?
yeah, and he made it. It's basically not a lot of money, and he had been working with very renowned
yeah, yeah, yeah,
cinematographer Nikos
yeah.
And it's Sakis.
Antantsakos.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's a lot of like good. It's not that there's not superstars involved, so I guess that's where it came out to be so cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And but and a lot of the scenes were improvised, and I think most of this money went into trying to get it marketed for international film festivals. Like it was
Yeah,
shown
20
in
pounds.
Cannes,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is a pretty big deal
And you know,
for
Ugly
Indian
is
cinema.
made because of
Hmm,
out
hmm,
of
hmm.
his. He says Kashyap says that he has made the movie out of his personal guilt of not spending enough time with his daughter, and like he had such fear of losing her
Daughter.
in between.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Kashyap has always felt that he never spent enough time with his family overall, but then he felt the most with
Hmm.
his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when he made Ugly, is what he
Mm.
says.
Like I feel Ugly, Raman Raghav, and that girl in yellow boots is like his modern, like post-modern Bombay film. Like it's like a trilogy of sorts.
Okay.
Like all
Yeah,
three
yeah.
have that cynical Bombay energy in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see all three films, they end on that cynical note. Like not purposefully, but it's an extension of
I,
how he
I
perceived
think
that
that's
city
because
in
it's
those films.
written and directed both by them,
Yeah.
so there's hardly.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no. Like no, no, no. I'm talking with respect to the setting.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
three
yeah.
films are set in Bombay only. No.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a very Bombay kind of guy. Like
Yeah, yeah.
he's
Like he's
Bombay
walked
where,
those streets, so he knows places that people
yeah,
that you wouldn't see in a normal film, in normal Bombay film.
he worked for Shyam Benegal
No, he
when he
worked for
came to
Ram
Mumbai.
Gopal Verma. No, that is how.
He worked for, but there was an interview with Shyam Benegal and Anurag Kashyap,
Hmm.
and this guy had applied to work at Shyam Benegal's office,
Hmm.
and there's like his whole connection to the other director started from there, where he then got connected to Ram Gopal Verma. He got connected to C Ram Raghavan, and all of these guys were educating. Basically, they were all educating him in movies. That's his whole experience of watching movies started with hanging out with these guys and finding out what kind of international cinema is there, what kind of cinema is there, which is parallel to the Hindi cinema.
Hmm.
And he was educating himself in that whole era, and during that time we got very good like he was working as a screenwriter, so that's when we saw movies like Satya, Shul, Kaun,
He worked,
Jung.
no?
Yeah, and he actually worked on Nayak also, which
As a dialogue
uh,
writer, I think. I'm not sure.
So
yes, he did.
No. Hmm.
um, he's also worked on a bunch of I mean worked on a bunch of other directors who are like very renowned directors actually, like Deepa Mehta and Maniratnam. He worked with Maniratnam on the dialogue
Yuva,
for
Yuva.
the Hindi version of Yuva,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yuva was the hero.
so he's been like involved in all of these movies
he's
for a
been in
long
the
time. Like he's been in
industry
this
for
scene,
more than
and
30 years now.
he it took him a long time to
30 years.
yeah.
Hmm. But tell me, like one character that has stayed with you all throughout, and like you're like this character was so good. Like if you would have placed him in any other film, it would have been great, or whatever. That kind of
The Abhimanyu Singh character in
Ransa,
Gulal.
Ransa, I think, है ना? Ransa ji. I don't.
Ransa, yeah, Ranjay Singh.
Ranjay. Hmm.
Yeah, I think that energy of someone who's like someone defying authority, and that has always been there in all of his films. I think someone who's someone who doesn't fit in, like basically like,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
people like he said that about his like his liking of movies in general. Like he gets drawn to movies where there are misfits involved, and I think his writing speaks to other people also, because there's a lot of people like, if you let's like talk about the elephant in the room. Gangs of Wasseypur is
Yeah,
probably
and
his
people
most liked film, I think.
Yeah. Because that's more accessible,
and
yeah.
people expect him to make such movies throughout his life.
Which is actually wrong,
Yeah,
but
yeah, unfair, yeah. So he in that movie is full of these characters. The movie is full of, in the beginning, Sardar, Sultan, and Faisal. All of these guys have one thing in common, as that either they're defying authority, they're breaking some kind of norm, or they're
Hmm.
just not a hero you won't expect, like Faisal.
Hmm.
And the same goes with most of his movies. That Girl in Yellow Boots, or even No Smoking. No Smoking is actually, okay. Sidetrack. No Smoking is actually
Stephen King
a
adaptation.
short story
Yeah,
called Twitter's Inc.
yeah.
And it is actually, the rights to that is $1.
Oh,
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's what I was going to say as well. Like obviously, No Smoking doesn't get its due as much as most other of his films, but it's got
mhm,
everything an Anurag Kashyap character has. He's self-obsessed, he's narcissistic, and
mhm,
that character K, I think that is like one of his most underrated characters. Like
mhm,
who's not spoken about in mainstream. When you're talking about an Anurag Kashyap character, you know who's going to define his character. It's going to be either what Faisal or whatever, any Wasipur character. But this is that one character which I think was that one solid character that could have worked. No Smoking is
mhm,
that what Teja was also saying was that twisted black comedy. Like
mhm.
it has that Lynchian vibes as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It
this
has
is,
that. It has that has a vibe going for it, even in the editing.
yeah,
Like
yeah. How
some random cuts that
it
he
cut
does.
from Serbia to Mumbai, and then I don't know. I haven't rewatched it, but yeah. That there's this another character in which I find really amusing in No Smoking. Paresh Rawal plays na that Guru Ghantal, Baba Bengali, Sialda Wale.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's the antagonist, but
yeah, yeah.
like he like it was a very well written character. Like you don't realize it at that moment while you're watching it, but later on, like
Mhm.
that it grows on you. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
And he has a very good working relationship with a lot of his actors, and a lot of actors that come and go in every one of his
like
movies.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
There's
he has
um,
literally made Nawazuddin Siddiqui and Richa Chedda and a couple of other actors like come into limelight because of his movies.
Yeah, yeah. Like you see,
yeah,
last 5 6 years, last decade only, you see all the actors who have like come up have been in his film. Like Pankaj Tripathi,
yeah,
Yeah,
all these people have been in his.
Vicky Kaushal.
Everyone started from Wasipur only.
true.
Yeah, a lot of people. And Manoj Vajpayee was actually, he was already an indie darling, and
Yeah, yeah.
he had been in Vishal Bharadwaj movies, Ram Gopal Varma movies,
Hmm.
and and they used, and he used him perfectly to get across the, like, he wanted someone who's likable, and someone who can pull off someone who's just scary.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, like Manoj Bajpayee is like, I think it's his best performance till date of any movie of his was
That's a
Gangster Vasoor
statement.
Part One.
Hmm.
Yeah, I still think that Gangster Vasoor Part One is better
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Part Two, even though people all like Part Two better than Part One.
Part one is better.
Like you view it as one film
Yeah,
only, no, but
exactly. People don't see it as two
Yeah,
parts actually.
hmm. Okay,
but
okay,
it was released in like two parts over the course of
three
Yeah.
3 months.
months.
I think.
Uh-huh.
Dude, but
Yeah,
then even
Hmm.
Martin Scorsese wrote to Kashyap saying how much he loved Gangs of Wasseypur and Devdi, and they've spent 15 days together, to
Hmm.
discuss about films
yeah,
and stuff like that. And I think that's how, and I think
yeah.
that's how he got Fox Studios to produce Bombay Velvet. Is it?
Yeah. How did you like Bombay Velvet essay?
It was a good movie. I won't say his best.
Obviously, it wasn't his best, but
Hmm.
like, what did you feel at the end of the film? Like, did you like it? What did you feel was missing from this film that you liked in other film? Because it was a far from perfect film. But like, what was that one thing that you felt?
But
Hmm.
compared to other movies like Black Friday, Ugly, it was definitely not up to the mark. I would say it went unnoticed.
Hmm.
Mm.
What about you,
There was a
Riddhi?
lot of negative reviews for that movie during the time. Like, I didn't watch the movie when it came out.
Hmm.
Uh, I watched it much later,
Hmm.
and at that time it was very it was banned, just widely banned, and the biggest like take back. I mean, takeaway for anyone watching that movie was that Karan Johar knew how to act. That is it. Karan Johar has a good role in that movie,
Hmm.
and I didn't. At first, I didn't feel okay. Like I feel that it needed that much attention. But then eventually, once I watched it, I felt like, okay, this is made with a lot of love. I understand this because there's a lot of thought given to production design and a lot of thought given to how the camera is telling the story. Because at that
Hmm.
point, I learned how to like read movies in a way in like a we're using the cinematic language
Hmm.
like original movies. I mean, not originally, it's like older movies. If you like run through them, you will see like a progression in his maturity as a filmmaker, like
Ah.
a director mostly. His act, how he directs actors, hasn't changed that much over the course of his
Yeah,
career. He's tried to stick with the very theatrical, dramatic style of directing actors, but how he shows things with the camera has changed a lot. He
Ah.
has Panch has a very like TV movie kind of, and Black Friday has a very documentary
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of look to it. No Smoking has
Even No
avant-garde
Smoking
short film.
is documentary look only, actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And also because like though there were budgetary concerns, so they had to use long lenses in actual
Yeah, yeah.
public. But he used that same style in a lot of other
That's
movies
like his
also.
that's like his general style only, that's like his grammar. Like you can
Yeah,
that's his shot. Like he'll use long lenses and like shoot from very far away.
yeah.
And
But I think he was doing the same style, but in a set for Bombay
But
Velvet. He was
yeah.
doing all of
I think
sets. So if you,
I think he
yeah,
was
yeah,
trying to pull off a Godfather from Bombay Velvet.
kind of thing.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
like
You're right.
the Once Upon a Time movies they show about America or any other place. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like that.
Like Once Upon a Time in
Yeah,
America.
exactly.
I watched it on first day itself. First show. I left my exam halfway through because I wanted to watch this film. And uh, the first thing that came to my mind was okay, like like it was not a purposeful thought that came into my mind, but those plot points didn't just set in properly. Like it felt like a mess. That's what I thought. And by the end of it, I had mixed feelings because I didn't love it,
Confused.
and I wanted to love it. But I was trying to fool myself that I loved that film, which I didn't. But over like 2 months or something, it grew on me. That's what happened. And I loved like how he transitioned that character into from a total nobody into somebody, that kind of thing, which is taken inspiration
Mm.
from that 30s 40s American crime cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It felt like a lot like Scarface.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
but
yeah.
overall, people did
So
not like the movie after the first day. Like, they,
no, I didn't
No.
like it. I was just confused how I felt about that film for a very long time. I rewatched it a few years later. I loved that music. I liked that film even more. But what I didn't like was the last 30 minutes of the film. The last 30-40 minutes of the film. That's where I thought the film went totally haywire. Like it didn't know where to go. Like it was like it had like six different roads to go, and it was like just confused which road it should take to end that film.
so that is that is
Yeah, yeah.
essentially
Like,
the new Kashyap which will never see. So the old Kashyap was like that. The new one is not taking things too deep. Like you said right now, there were six roads, six ends to the story, and making it.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, because it has a lot of subplots and
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Uh,
Like
and it doesn't give justice properly.
he
Yeah.
doesn't go too deep right now.
Hmm. No, but with that film, I think there was a lot because it original cut was around what 4 hours or something, right? Which that watered down to 2.5 hours,
Uh,
2 hours 35 minutes or something.
okay.
And now what you see it on Hotstar and all those online sites, it is 2 hours 25 minutes. So they've cut down even 10 more minutes.
Fun fact, Thelma Schoonmaker,
Edited it.
uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
Martin.
what actually came out of the conversation he had with Scorsese. He told him that he had this big epic that he had already made, but he needed someone with a very critical eye to edit it.
Hmm.
So naturally, Scorsese suggested Thelma Schoonmaker,
Yeah, yeah. No, but
and
that's what
yeah,
I,
yeah,
that's what I was trying to say. Like it had so many subplots and everything. It could have made a very good limited series or something like Mob City. That
oh
Frank
yeah.
Darabont show. Like it has the same vibes. It's got that noirish feel. It's got jazz. It's got a protagonist. It's got a murder mystery. It's got everything. So
So yeah, so for someone listening, Mob City is this TV series, this mini series by Frank
Frank Darabont.
Darabont, the
Hmm.
who directed Shawshank Redemption and The Mist and The Walking Dead season one. It's very like Sanjeev said, it's very much like a. It's supposed to be this crime epic, but it's spaced out so that you can
Hmm.
learn about each character over the course of many years.
Yeah. So like what's your opinion on his newer films like post Bombay Velvet?
So
Like
post
So I guess post
Raman
Bombay
Raghav.
Velvet, we'll go to the
Mukkabaz,
naturally the next one is going to be Ravan Raghav
yeah,
2.0.
Yeah.
Mukkabaz.
But what did you feel about Raman Raghav? Like, what are your thoughts on that film?
I think that was like a reset for him that he wanted to like I feel like Ugly and Raman Raghav could have been in the same timeline of
Yeah,
him
same
playing,
world. Yeah.
and I think like his if he had to have like a crescendo in his directing career, it would have been it should have all led up to Bombay Velvet, but I think Bombay Velvet came a little bit too soon for him.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's why he wanted to go back to something that he was already good at, but just refine that even more. So Raman Raghav is that like crime drama, like pure crime
So
drama.
the thing
Hmm.
is here, first Kashyap was interested in this story of Raman Raghav in 1991. Actually,
Hmm.
when Sriram Raghavan was making a
What was making? Yeah,
film
yeah, yeah.
about
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
uncertain
yeah.
title Raman Raghav, who is a killer. Like Kashyap was so drawn to the idea that this guy has no feelings, no moral compass sorry,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of
Hmm.
Like he kills because he wants to
yeah,
kill.
that's it.
Hmm.
There's no planning also to kill. He wants to kill. He is dead.
Like Raman Raghav was his proper like reboot of sorts. Like he went like total zero and like began from scratch. That's what it felt, and it felt like a detox for him, like from everything.
Yeah, kind of.
Like he went from what 100 crore film to what 3 crore film. Like
Hmm.
he got less money for Raman Raghav than Ugly also. So
Yeah.
like this one film like Raman Raghav, which is I feel his most philosophical film.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to say so many things, and there are so many things to say about that film. But like he's just talking about like what if people on the other side of like Raman and Raghav are two opposite people on different sides of law, and but both of them
Hmm.
are actually the same uh, people. Like what if?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like,
It's
and I think I've read the script, and I think he's just elevated that film onto a different level in this direction. Like Raman Raghav is
hmm.
a pure directed film. Like each and
Hmm.
everything is so well directed, like it's that well-rounded direction
I
kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and that script has like those chapter kind of structure that is only for thing, I think, just setting the film in a frame or something, but the film
Yeah.
meanders into places like where it has to end everything.
Okay.
I feel the way Sanjit is feeling it was too good because it was shot in a real way, in a very real way.
Hmm.
Like during the
Hmm.
shoot, apparently, Siddiqui fell sick. He got dengue because they were shooting in some unhygienic conditions, and he was
Yeah.
hospitalized
Yeah.
for a week or something. Where subconsciously, semi-consciously, Siddiqui was talking only the dialogues of the film
Hmm.
because
Oh,
there
okay.
was a 10-minute monologue in the movie where for the 10 minutes Kashyap made Siddiqui to talk for 300 minutes almost because from same position he had to shoot different angles for continuity, not to lose the continuity. He shot for so
Yeah.
long, and yeah, and eventually after that Siddiqui fell sick. Yeah,
Wow. I think we got a lot of good people who came into the limelight because of this movie. Like before this, there was Mashan where Anurag Kashyap had produced that movie, and he found Vicky
yeah.
Kaushal,
He
and
found
eventually Vicky Kaushal,
Shobita
and
Pudipala.
then you couldn't imagine. Yeah, yeah, that her too, and that was actually her
Yeah,
debut in this film was her. And Vicky Kaushal was not even he wasn't seen as the very rugged kind of actor or anything. Like he was the ED for him in Gangs of Wasseypur, and he had a very innocent role in Mashan. And then like this movie like really opened him up to becoming like a clearly you could see that this guy's going to be a superstar one day. And this movie had a very good way of showing all of these actors' skills without affecting the story in any way. There were no like in this kind of movie where you it's almost like like a Dark Knight where like one performance is kind of very dominating throughout the
yeah.
movie. You and everything else pales to comparison to because of that one performance. But in this movie, it was very easy to go in that territory. But even then, he held on his own. Like everyone was given equal meter for their performances. So that's why it was a very well like it was a very well-rounded direction for the
The
whole movie. It wasn't
cinematic,
every single part was working perfectly. Like the editing was working perfectly. The cinematography was working perfectly. He was like really working on all
the
cylinders.
Hmm.
cinematography was
Of
done by
all
Jay
cylinders,
Oza.
yeah.
This guy has done
Jay Oza, yeah, yeah.
shot Gully Boy also.
Gully Boy and Black
Uh,
Sail.
And so we all loved Raman Raghav, I guess. But
Hmm.
now like we come to, like the post Bombay Velvet portion of his career is like when it's like it started from Raman Raghav and now it has gone into like this the 1 year of
More
yeah more mainstream kind of movies where movies and TV show I guess like because
Sacred
Love
he
Games,
was
yeah.
working
Stories.
Sacred Games, Love Stories, Mukkabas, and Manmarzia all
Ghost Stories
Yeah,
parallelly.
also, no?
all four in the same year.
Ghost Stories.
Ghost
Yeah.
Stories was in 20.
No, no, he was
No,
working.
no,
Oh, you're
Ghost
saying
Stories was
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Hmm.
he was working. Ghost Stories was released in 2020. He was working on it 2019, but he was working on Manmarzia,
Mukkabaz, Love
Mukkabas,
Stories,
Sacred
Sacred Games. Yeah,
Love
same year.
Stories. Yeah, he was working all four of these things in the
True,
same
true.
year.
Hmm,
I
hmm,
think that
hmm.
was his peak year.
He's working it
Peak
parallelly.
year.
Like he's gone full Spielberg with his work.
So, so Teja, what do you think about you watched Mukkabas in the theater, right?
I don't think so, dude.
No, no, he didn't. Only you and me went.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So yeah, only Sanjeet and I had gone for Mukkabas, which we both I totally love that movie.
Yeah, even I liked it.
Yeah. Jimmy Shergill, the
Antagonist.
yeah, Jimmy Shergill is like the wild card that has not been played yet by Indian cinema.
But like what I feel with this newer film, like more I'm talking about feature length films, like
Mhm.
Mukkabaz and Man Mazia, like they're more straightforward. Like he's basically trying to adapt his style into more commercial style actually.
Yes, true, true.
Like I don't feel he's selling out as of now, but like both his films have been less cynical. I think that's probably because in the phase of life that he's in, and
Yeah.
they felt more warmer rather than
Mm,
colder.
yeah,
Like Mukkabaz and Manmarji have been both love stories actually. In essence, they're like even Mukkabaz is actually a sports film which has
yeah,
socio-political ideas around it, but it's actually a love story between
yeah.
Zoya and Shravan. So I
Hmm.
felt these are
Audience
more
friendly.
straighter
Lot
films
of
and
audience friendly
lesser
movies.
subplots. Huh?
Audience friendly movies and plots.
Yeah, more audience
Yeah,
friendly movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's there were not a lot of subplots going around. There were a few characters only, and there were only few side characters working around. Like
yeah,
Man Marzia is that hardcore like commercial Bollywood format, like a love triangle. Right?
yeah,
Like now in that format, he's literally broken down those characters into bare bones, and
yeah,
he loved like just playing with characters, like just characters doing one thing to one each other, and just worked around that thing. So this is
yeah,
one thing that has changed. Like, and he is going into that full hardcore improvisational zone. Like
yeah,
so that's what I've heard. Like most of his shooting things are like he's just throwing away the script
Yeah.
and he's just shooting on set.
yeah.
Like he's just trying to direct them, trying to create more chaos so that it feels chaotic.
Yeah, he has always said that he thrives in
Chaos.
chaos.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think like these two movies are very good example of like how he can use his style, like you said, like how he uses his style for a more audience friendly experience, right?
hmm
I think he wants to tell, it's very much like remember when Steven Soderbergh like took a break from filmmaking
hmm
and then made Logan Lucky.
yeah.
And it seemed such a plain movie, but it has everything is perfect. Like he's
Yeah.
already figured out to direct actors, he's already figured out how to edit things together. Like
hmm
and he really uses those people around him because he himself will try to forget all that, try to only focus on the actors and the situation. That's
Yeah.
where the, you know, like the magic happens for him. Like I think
And he,
his
and
most of his, it feels like it's very natural.
like
hmm
I think Kashyap believes more in first-time filmmakers who are yet to become filmmakers, or he makes such people only work under him or with him. They work together because I think he believes truly that the the outcome of such people is very honest and unadulterated. Because once something happens, once we make
hmm
something, we get enough feedback for our thoughts to get influence for our next movie, next film.
hmm
So,
Yeah,
like, audience also will have a lot of demands. So, all of that, the first timers won't keep it in mind. So, I think, including music
exactly.
composers,
hmm
actors, filmmakers, everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
There's not a lot of expectations, and he doesn't have to change it anything.
I think Sacred Games season one was directed impeccably. Like that was like
Yeah,
impeccable direction. Like even the parts he's like improvised, and Sacred Games, even though it's that Nawazuddin is his that section that he's directed is his territory, but it felt he's just changed his like filming grammar a little bit for that thing, like for a few
yeah.
scenes.
It wasn't actually a lot of. I read about his production and everything, and there wasn't. It was like mostly character based.
Yeah.
It was really heavily scripted. This one he planned everything a lot. Like he planned a
Yeah, yeah, it
lot
felt
of,
like that. Yeah.
and I think Ari, if please, am I the only one who felt like the whole cuckoo sequence was very heavily inspired by Bombay Velvet? It was like a lost love. Like he
Yeah,
is
like
remembering.
trying to
Uh,
fulfill his like wishes, what he could have done there or something like.
yeah, yeah.
I think he
Because the shots, I can swear that there are some shots in Bombay Velvet that are exact copied into
Mm-hmm.
the cuckoo.
I think
Yeah.
because of Netflix giving him a platform to do this, he's like initially how his movies used to have all these galis and truths, unbearable truths. I think he's doing that via OTT platforms right now.
Hmm.
So he can work as as
Hmm.
a director. He can work as in on Netflix, and he can work as a filmmaker on in the on feature films on theater releases. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. So yeah, like
Okay,
Teja
cool,
had said
cool.
that he's gonna be making more of his Gali filled and like more of his honest. That's what, like some hard truth movies that he wants. He can make them on the OTT platform, and lot of freedom to make these kind of movies without having to deal with the minutia of promoting the movie. And if there are social issues that
Hmm.
are being talked about, then there'll be a lot of backlash from either theater owners or the audience themselves. So I think things like, I guess right now, even in Manmarsya, he was talking about he was talking about extramarital affair, and he was talking
Yeah.
about just the choice that women have. And it seemed very like, to us it might seem that of course she has a choice, but to a very wide audience, I don't think a lot of people will be accepting a character which has so much freedom to herself, or at least is demanding freedom.
Hmm.
I actually felt that Manmarsia is probably my second
Hmm.
best
Hmm.
Anurag Kashyap film, because just because of like the whole dynamic between Taapsee Pannu, Abhishek Bachchan, and Vicky Kaushal. To
Oh,
date, I think Abhishek Bachchan's best performance was Yuva, but I think Manmar comes to a close second.
Guru. What about Guru? Uh-huh.
I think Yuva is much better than Guru.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so yeah, what did you think about Manmar?
I actually liked Manmarzi a lot, like more than what I expected. Because, like, so when I watched the trailer, I knew this was not going to be his usual self. But in the end, the film was engaging. Like, I liked how he played with those characters, like how I told before. So, like, there's this manic energy when in the first half when it's about Vicky Kaushal and Taapsee Pannu's characters. Also, I don't remember those characters' names, which is not good. But
Uh,
anyway, so,
uh, so So Abhishek's so it's Vicky, and then there is, I guess, Rumi. Yeah, Rumi and Robbie.
Robbie, yeah, yeah, okay, now I remember. But anyway, there's this manic energy when it's Vicky Kaushal and Taapsee Pannu, which is like Vicky Kaushal is like this kind of person who is unprepared, who doesn't know where his life is leading up to. He doesn't know what he's going to do, but um, you could feel that thing while watching it.
Yeah,
But then, and in the second half, when it becomes about Robbie and Rumi, the film calms down a little bit. Like
yeah,
like a lot of people had this complaint that the film was really slow, but I didn't feel like that because I was enjoying.
no,
But
no, yeah,
it's like you can enjoy either of these characters. You could relate to
yeah,
either one of them, like because they're both extremes, sort of.
yeah,
Like Robbie is this more calmer, like sea ocean like kind of thing, and Vicky Kaushal is like fire, like he's more dynamic, more fiery.
yeah. But
Yeah,
also very, very toxic. Like,
very toxic. Yeah. So that's what I liked about that film. Like there was not a lot on that film to talk about, and like that film becomes this whole chaos at one point where
Mm-hmm.
it becomes difficult to define who actually is Robbie in real, and who are Robbie and Vicky the same person in essence, as men. So those were the things that I really liked, and then it calms down only in the end when they're during that climax when they're just walking and talking. That is when the
Okay.
film actually calms down in that
Yeah.
whole energy. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of illogical back and forth in that whole movie. Like I felt like there's a lot of retreaded ground where
Huh.
she went back to like the same cycle of like, oh no, I
Like
have to be with him, I have to be
it's
with him.
not believable. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, wasn't very believable. But I think that I think those are the kind of relationships that he's into. Like he's into these kind of very
Hyper.
they're hyper, yeah, exactly, very hyperactive relationships where it's either too intense or it's nothing.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that's what I guess he was trying to retread on his own path, like where he was trying to re view his own relationships that he has had in movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might have been about his like about his love for love, like his romance in movies is either I don't think I've seen romances in his movies since Dave D,
Yeah.
like
Like
Bombay Velvet maybe, yeah.
Pommy, but like Mukka was also a romantic film, but there were like a lot of other things that were going on. Like, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think like Manmarzia was like the epitome for his romance, I guess. It was like a comment on his view of romance and how he has portrayed romance in his movies.
Hmm.
And yeah, like I felt like all of his, also like his own life has been pretty turbulent romance wise, because he was also we should like give a big thanks to Aarti Bajaj, who is like
His editor.
the
Yeah.
his editor. Sh- Aarti Bajaj has edited all of most of his movies, I think. I'm not sure if all of his movies, but he was married to her from like 1997, and
Oh,
then they got divorced, and then he remarried
oh.
to Kalki Kekla, and then
Hmm.
again her too. And there was this very like this really incredible interview between Kalki Kekla and Anurag Kashyap.
Anurag Kashyap. Yeah.
It felt like a one act play, okay, like in real
Yeah.
life, like where literally when you watch the video, right, like it felt like they're both like like there is some underneath like some turbulence going on like between both of them, and they're just like they're good friends and everything, and they're talking about their relationship and their like divorce and
Hmm.
everything. They're talking about how they have changed as people after their divorce and how they're happier, and like it has this amazing feel about like people who have lost their like who have been in love but then moved on.
Hmm.
And that was a really, and it's in real life, it's not even like I'm talking about some story like um so I think that has affected him becoming more warm, and um like Sanjita said, like it had his feel has now become more into a romantic phase.
Hmm. Like so let's end this with your thoughts on his upcoming film Choked. Paisa Bolta Hai.
Paisa Bolta Hai. I don't like that. I
I
really
don't like
don't
that
like
either.
It's such, it's
that.
such
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
negative
I know, right?
commercial tagline.
I think Netflix might have told him, can you not keep it choked? It sounds like some very weird shit.
Yeah, probably some soft porn, some
Yeah.
sex.
See, I would like to, I would like to end this conversation. Like, I can imagine the conversations also with Anurag Kashyap because of the character he shows
Hmm.
in all the movies he has done till now. It's himself, his experiences, his life influences, all of that. So I'm not sure if I can relate like
Hmm.
that with any other
Yeah.
director, actually. Like I know this guy, I know this guy well. Types. I don't think any other director gives us like
Hmm.
that
Okay.
information, like
Venti, your
about
thoughts
himself.
in under
Yeah. True.
30
What
seconds
about you,
only.
Sanjeev?
No, you give your thoughts in
Under
under
30
30
seconds. Okay. So yes, yes. Anurag Kashyap is like probably my favorite Indian director, and he has influenced me in so many ways, and he has made me like filmmaking
seconds.
because I think that he has like even though it might be impossible for anyone else to do what he does,
Hmm. Hmm.
it is possible for anyone to do what he does, but he makes it look easy,
Hmm.
which is
People say people say he's
Yeah.
yeah,
overrated.
yeah,
He's not overrated. He is who he is.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
People just have to accept him. That's all.
So like I didn't like his like I found the trailer to be very mediocre, choked ka, and
Mm-hmm.
but but that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
most of his
it's like any
trailers
other
aren't that
commercial
good either.
trailer.
Like you think they've given out too much information, but in the end, his films are something else, only totally something else.
Yeah,
So like there's a
I think
3 hours, 3 minutes and 50-second trailer of Ugly, and I watched that, and then I went and watched the film. But then I liked the film even over. Like I thought I'd seen too much, but I hadn't. So I feel the same way with this, like with this trailer. I didn't like it. I found it very mediocre. But I know there'll be something that I might enjoy. And he's influenced me a lot. Clearly, everyone knows about that. And like I've literally copied his shots. And like I got into filmmaking. Like he was one of the reasons I got into filmmaking. So yeah, end of
yeah,
And I thank my beloved friend Sanjeet Singh
my
Sarana
God.
for introducing me to Anurag Kashyap on this pod.
thank you, Sanjeev. You were
After, after 6 years of introduction,
Yes.
finally we
yeah,
are doing a podcast on
Chalo.
Anurag Kashyap.
End of
yes.
podcast. Khatam.
You know, man.